Understanding point of view. In writing, mastering the point of view is very important as it is one of the top mistakes writers make, especially the inexperienced ones or the newbies. At the end of the lesson, there is just one objective that we should all reach, okay? And that is to identify how POV or how point of view is used in creative nonfiction. What is point of view or POV? All stories are written from a point of view. However, when point of view goes wrong, and believe me, it goes wrong often, you threaten whatever trust you have with your reader and fracture their suspension of disbelief. Point of view is simple to master if you use common sense, and in this lesson, you will define point of view, go over each of the major point of views, and then explain a few of the POV rules. There are 3 points of view or 3 POVs. First person point of view, second person point of view, and the third person point of view. First person point of view is when I am telling the story. The character is in the story, relating his or her experiences directly. The first person point of view uses the personal pronouns I, me, we, and us in order to tell a story from the narrator's perspective. The storyteller in a first-person narrative is either the protagonist relaying their experiences or a peripheral character telling the protagonist's story. First-person narrators can either be central, where the narrator is the protagonist at the heart of the plot, or peripheral, where the narrator is a witness to the story but he or she is not the main character. The second person point of view is when the story is told by you. This point of view, though, is not common in fiction. The second person point of view uses the pronoun you to address the reader. This narrative voice implies that the reader is either the protagonist or a character in the story and the events are happening to them. In third person, the narrator is outside the story and relating the experiences of a character. The central character is not the narrator, and in fact, the narrator is not present in the story at all. In third-person point of view, the author is narrating a story about the characters, referring to them by name, or using the third-person pronouns he, she, and they. In literature, third-person point of view follows multiple characters and narrative arcs, zooming in and out of the story the way a camera does in a movie. These stories can be narrated in third-person omniscient, third-person limited, or third-person objective. Okay, I will reiterate: omniscient, limited, and objective. Third-person point of view omniscient happens when the story is still about he or she, but the narrator has full access to the thoughts and experiences of all characters in the story. Third-person point of view limited happens when the story is about he or she. This is the most common point of view in commercial fiction. The narrator is outside of the story and relating the experiences of a character. In third-person objective, the narrator simply describes what is happening to the characters in the story and does not show us anyone's thought or feelings. In other words, the narrator doesn't favor one character's perspective over another, so the narrative is unbiased. That's why objective. When you're using third-person objective point of view, it's a case of giving just the facts. The reader is never allowed into any of the characters' minds nor given any of their feelings or emotions. The reader has to judge what the character is thinking or feeling by what they say, what they do, and their facial expressions, much like real life. So to clarify, in objective point of view, the reader has access to nobody's thoughts. In third-person limited point of view, the reader has access to one person's thoughts at a time. In third-person omniscient point of view, the reader has access to everybody's thoughts at the time. The advantage of objective point of view is that it's a good discipline for you as a writer. It absolutely forces you to show, not tell. If you're attracted to this style of writing, then make sure to observe people. Watch how people act and react. Analyze their facial expressions and their body language. Make note of how they move when they talk, of how they sit, of how they gesture. Observe how people's style of dress, their cars, and their houses reflect who they are. As already said, you still need to get it across to the reader what the characters are thinking and feeling, but you have to show it rather than telling it. That will be all for lesson 2. Thank you very much.